So good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. Hi, everyone. So this is Parshat Re'eh, the Parsha that begins with the command Re'eh, Natati lifnechem et habracha v'klala, see, Re'eh, lirot. God, or maybe Moses' heart, or maybe both, are commanding us, Re'eh, see, I have placed before you blessing and a curse. Choose the blessing, choose life. And one of the weird things about this blessing, especially on a day that is significant in New York and elsewhere, today is primary day. We are called to vote in the primaries. It's very powerful to phrase this in such stark language. See, I have placed before you the blessing and the curse. Choose the blessing. Think about it just for a moment. Who wouldn't choose the blessing? Especially if you know that there are consequences to choosing the curse. First of all, it's hard to say in a political moment that one choice is a blessing and one is a curse. People who think in such cataclysmic ways, such apocalyptic language, and describing one political choice over another as blessing or curse, that can be true, but it is rare. It is, however, really important to think about intersecting choices representing a worldview as presented. And so it's important to see not just the verse from this week's Parsha, Re'eh natati lifnechem, see, I have placed before you blessing and curse. It's important to see what happens when you make choices that are blessings, because the rest of this Parsha includes my predecessor in this office, Rabbi Michael Paley's favorite chapter of the entire Torah, Deuteronomy 15. Because if you follow through with all of these choices, if you do, then there will come a time where there shall be no needy. The poor people of the world won't exist because we will have helped everyone have what they need. We will have created an equitable society. You see, this blessing and curse dynamic exists in the Promised Land. And that Promised Land isn't just a place. If you're a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as I am, you see in Thor Ragnarok, I happen to know this one, with the destruction of a homeland for Thor and for the Norse gods, they are told it's not a place, it's a people. And I wish I could say that what is communicated in this Parsha, as Linda said, if only that were possible. And yes, Penny, you're right. Every chapter was Michael's favorite. But when I was interviewing for the job, sitting at this table right behind me, he made sure to say to me, Deuteronomy 15, don't forget it. So, you're right. He loved it all, loves it all. But it is important for me, in this moment, in this space, to reify the importance of chapter 15. And I want to make sure that I emphasize something that is true, real, and unfortunately still necessary. Because even though it should be clear that when you have before you the choice of blessing or curse, you would always choose the blessing. It's clear that the society we live in is not one where people have chosen blessing. And blessing is not only about personal success, it's about societal equity. When I was racing to get here today, I had an experience similar to the one that I had when I was interviewing for this job. I tell this story often, that I was nervous about the interview, so I stopped at a coffee shop nearby, and I got a coffee, a very nice coffee, a coffee drink, not just coffee. And I was moving so fast, looking up at the tall buildings all around here in Midtown Manhattan, that I almost tripped over a homeless woman sitting on the corner. Well, today, you might notice we started a moment or two late. I was racing from Grand Central, running to make sure that I didn't start this broadcast late, about making sure that poor people would have everything they need. And there was a man stretched out right on the corner of 59th and Lex. And I realized that I was racing to communicate a message that my eyes saw right before me. Parshat Re'eh. See, I have placed before you. What have I placed before you? Humanity. What is it going to be? So friends, I don't think a primary is about apocalyptic dynamics, where one choice is blessing and one choice is curse, but it is clear to me that the work we do in the world, which should be pervaded with Jewish values that open our eyes to the world, it is unfortunately just as necessary today as it was before, perhaps even more so. And Linda, you're right to describe it as a Sisyphean task. Those who don't know, there's a Greek myth of Sisyphus, who is compelled, as a hellish task, literally, to push a boulder up a mountain. And every time he would make progress, even when he got almost to the peak, the boulder would roll down. But the thing is, to describe something in that framework of Sisyphus is to forget that what he was condemned to do was roll the boulder up the hill alone. So I want to bless us from a place of gravitas, from a place of witnessing, from a place of testimony, and from a place of trying to learn the lessons from our past, that if only Sisyphus had had two friends by his side with which to roll that boulder up the hill, it never would have slipped, because there would have been balance and togetherness, because ultimately the language that my predecessor, Rabbi Michael Paley, my teacher, my friend, Rabbi Michael Paley taught me, taught us, is that the vision of Deuteronomy 15 in this week's Parsha is not about pushing the boulder up alone. It's about creating a society where everyone pushes together until we roll that stone away. And when I'll turn the corner one day at 59th and Lex, the homeless person that once stood there won't be there not because I ignored him, not because we marginalized the poor, not because we built a wall to keep them away, but because there should be no poor people. They are people. See, I have placed before you humanity. Until the day where that is an obvious truth, where we can look at this week's Parsha and say, of course we've chosen blessing. Look at the beloved community we've built. Until that day, we require this Parsha. So friends, I bless us with temerity, bravery, endurance, and open eyes, so that we can envision the world worth building, the beloved community that is yet to be, the one that the prophets have always described, a place where no one chooses curse for anyone else, chooses blessing instead for everyone else. That's the world Moses is urgently communicating. Perhaps even God is pouring into our eyes. May we be blessed to build such a world from love, from justice, from equity, and from witnessing. So let's take a breath and sing our way into a beautiful day where we do something for someone else. That's the blessing we're called to be, to make, to deliver. Ya la 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 la, diddy la 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 la, diddy la 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 la, ay ay la la la, hi la 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 la, diddy la 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 la, diddy la 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 la, ay ay la la la. Bless you, friends. See you tomorrow.